Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are doing the 2-week update on the tyre dressings that we applied to the van here. So we have 4 different tyres on 4, with 4 different products I should say. So each wheel we did one. We left the control space basically here, right above the stem. And on this, because the tyre's so dirty, it is probably harder to see, but I can clearly see we still have a line down where we left the control section. So yeah, what I'm going to do is, as you can see, the wheel got very dirty, as did the guard lining, covered in mud. So this is the one with the Bowden zone sweet rubber. So let's start off, give it a rinse, and you can straight away see, basically all the gunk coming off the wheel and tyre. You can straight away see that the section that is our sort of control section, the water is completely sticking. Notice, wheel really did get dirty, all black coming off there. All the gunk, all the water is sitting right there, whereas the rest of the tyre, where the dressing is applied, water's just beating straight off it. So I'm going to, with my little mini mitt here, just give the tyre a quick wipe. So we just want to get it clean, because while it's probably harder to see when it's dirty, that it's still black in some sections, I think it actually still is. So with that now done, maybe you'll be able to see a little bit better that not only is the tyre sort of repelling the water and the dirt, but may look a little bit darker. But we will come back and confirm that at the end after we've done all 4, because we're going to dry all 4 tyres. Okay, now for the second tyre, on the driver's side we had Mirch Super Tyre Shine. Now this one, I can clearly see the line of where it's applied, so it still looks like it's blackened the tyre a fair bit. Go ahead and rinse it as well. And yeah, so there is sections there where I kind of got some overspray, but you can kind of still see, you can very easily still see the control section there down the bottom. And the rest of the tyre repelling the water. So same thing, quick little wipe down, get all the dirt, mud that is actually sitting on top of the tyre. Hopefully we'll just wipe straight off, because the dressing has kind of protected it, which is seems to be what they're doing quite well so far. Rinse that, you can see sections that are dressed, very, very hydrophobic. Down here where it is not applied, water sticking around. So yeah, 2 weeks on the Mirch, also looking great still. Okay, next up we have the rear passenger side, which is where we have the Chemical Guys Tyre Kicker Tyre Shine. So maybe the sun's hitting, but less obvious where the line is for where I applied, but I think it's more just the sun's hitting it. So let's just rinse it, and yeah, straight away you can see the spot where it's sticking down the bottom there. That's our control section where it's not applied. The rest of the tyre, extremely hydrophobic. And then if we grab our mitt, so you can see, like, yeah, I've been driving through muddy roads in this van. Each week I have to go to a site where I have to go over like a few kilometres of gravel road, and then there's generally, you know, muddy sections and sort of water on the gravel road, and some of it's just sort of dirt. So the tyres are getting a decent workout. It's also driven every day and parked outside, so they're getting a definite, really good test of like conditions that you would subject a tyre to and a tyre dressing to. So rinse this one down. I think it's, I don't know if it's still very hydrophobic. I'm just thinking, is this one starting to lose it somewhat? Probably not. Probably not. Still looking great, I believe. And our last one up is the Turtle Wax Hybrid Solutions Graphene Acrylic Tyre Shine. This one I've actually tested on another car since, quite liking it, just for the looks basically, but here's where I'm testing it for the durability. You can see these front wheels getting absolutely filthy. Seems like especially the driver's side. But yeah, this one, our control section is up the top here. The rest of it looking quite hydrophobic, but it is needing a wash, and I left my bucket down here, so we'll grab that, grab our little mitt and give it a wipe. Okay, there we go, and just a quick rinse. So the turtle wax isn't looking as hydrophobic in some spots, I don't think. Water's not like beating up like crazy like it was with some of the others. Still is though, still definitely going strong. So there we go for the, basically what they are doing still, even if they're not looking black, which is what we're about to test in a sec when we dry them off. But what they are doing is clearly keeping the tyre cleaner, repelling dirt and anything that's getting onto there to make the tyre look dirtier. Like you can see, it's repelling water, it's repelling everything else, except for these sections here. So even just doing a little rub test there. So yeah, you can sort of see that even if the tyre's not looking black, it at least has protected it. But now let's get the air dryer out, completely dry these, and let's just see if there's still anything left for, as far as like the line that we're looking for, if they're looking blacker in those sections, because majority of people are using a tyre shine pretty much purely just for the blackening effect. So yeah, I will dry them off and we'll test that now. All right, so I ended up deciding to move the van inside because it was just a little bit hard to really judge with one side having the sunlight coming onto it and the other side being in the shade. On the shaded side, I could clearly see where the tyres were still black. On the sun side, it was kind of harder to tell. So to make it fair, I brought them both in. Also got the detail light out just to possibly try and help that. So this is the turtle wax. Now on this one, yeah, I can still see where it is and isn't applied. It's not the best. This is definitely like, almost looks like there's not any tyre shine on it or tyre dressing, but right here is the line and down there it looks like. Don't know if you guys can see that. That's clearly the whole tyre itself isn't looking that black. So yeah, that's like definitely at the point, it's looking a little bit splotchy as well. That's definitely at the point where you want to reapply. It's, yeah, still protecting, but I feel like it was the one that sort of was wearing off as well, the hydrophobics. I think like another week and those hydrophobics will be kind of gone. But even at that point, I would not, if it wasn't just like my work van, and it was like, you know, a nice car where you're constantly cleaning it, because obviously this is kind of filthy. I really need to actually clean this, which I'm about to do. But yeah, if this was not driven on dirt roads and like a nicer, you know, like my sports car or something, I would be dressing the tyres every 2 weeks minimum, and I wouldn't let them get to this. But still, it's interesting, 2 weeks, and that's what it's kind of looking like. So let's come over to the chemical guys. So this is the back passenger side. We have the chemical guys. Now this one, I think, is looking a little bit better than the turtle wax. like without really looking hard, I can clearly see the line here where the product is applied. It's like without the light, probably hard to tell. I think the light really does help. So down there and there. There's not too much in it, but I think the tyre is overall looking more uniformed, more black, still a little splotchy. Okay, so around the other side, you have the Mirch Super Tyre Shine. Now this is the one sitting outside I thought looked the best. It's still very black. You're not really seeing like dirt sections on it. And you can, other than the fact that I sort of stuffed up at the bottom, let's try that a light as well. When I reapplied, got this little splotch here and this little run. I peeled the tape off a little bit too early. But it overall looks still pretty black. The dirty sections aren't really penetrating through the tyre dressing as much. So the whole thing looks pretty black. And if you compare it to the undress section, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys can see just as well on camera as I can with my eyes that one is still looking great, comparing it to the undress sections. So yeah, pretty impressed with that Mirch, I'll be honest. The hydrophobics on it were quite impressive as well. So now we have the Bowden Zone Sweet Rubber. This is the one that I was going to apply to the Evo yesterday, but I decided I'd go for the turtle wax just to give it a further testing. But yeah, the Sweet Rubber I think I am preferring. So this one as well, I think it's definitely, I'm going to say definitely second place for looks at this stage. It is pretty uniformed and dark. It wasn't as dark as the Mirch was from the start. Mirch was like the first application was too shiny for me. I think it needed a couple of days to level down and of driving around. Whereas the Sweet Rubber, the second you put it on, that's the exact look. Same with the turtle wax that I'm sort of going for with the tyre dressing. So does that mean though that then it doesn't last as long because the super like glossy dark one, possibly, it's got more to wear down before it starts to look completely dull. But this, again, if you can see the line we got there, and it's a pretty clear, like I think on camera, with and without the light, you can see that. And the whole tyre overall, in my mind, the garbage truck out the front, hopefully that's not too loud for you guys, overall is looking pretty uniformed. Yeah, I think at 2 weeks, if it wasn't for driving in the mud, I think you get away with that for another week. I think the Mirch, for me, is still dark enough that I wouldn't actually be looking to reapply. So yeah, pretty interesting results. 2 weeks in, I think I'm not going to go with the third week because realistically we can see where they're all heading. The Mirch in another week is probably going to look like this. The turtle wax I think will be gone. The chemical guys will be gone. So overall I think it's shown. Let's just grab all of the products and just quickly go over the prices because I did have someone in the 1 week update video say that needed to cover the pricing, which I did in the first video, but we'll go over them again. And I'm going to give a little bit of an order of which ones I liked and which ones I would recommend and wouldn't. So for the pricing, I did quickly look them up again to remind myself, but let me just check that now to confirm what I sort of recently looked at. So the cheapest was definitely the Mirch at $19 for 500 mils. Now with that, you are going to have to pay for delivery unless you order a certain amount from them, and you get free delivery. I actually think they have a lot of great products, so it'd be worth, if you wanted to get this, grabbing, you know, their wheel cleaner, their sealant, their car wash soap or shampoo. And I think you could easily spend $150 on Mirch products and be happy. But if you're just wanting to get the tyre shine, $19, but you'll probably pay $10 shipping. I haven't actually gotten a quote on the shipping, but yeah, $19 just is a great price. If it was available in retailers, it would be making a killing. The next cheapest, I believe, is a Tyre between the Bowdens and the chemical guys. They're both $27, is that right? Yeah. The Bowdens is a 500ml, chemical guys is a 473. The Mirch was a 500, and the Turtle Wax is a 680. So yeah, both are $27. So not crazy, but a little bit more than the Mirch. And I think this, like, the first choice for this particular tire on the van, I think the Mirch. Is it something that I generally like, something so glossy at the start on my car? No, I don't. I feel like if I was going to, like, you know, a car show or something and I wanted to make my tires look great, it's not something that I generally go for. But after seeing how it looks after a couple of days, maybe you just put it on a little bit earlier, or you just level it down a bit. But yeah, the looks for durability, the Mirch, I like the Bowden's own sweet rubber personally a little bit more for the initial application look, but as it wears off, the Mirch kind of ends up looking how I like anyway, so hard to say. Chemical Guys, I'm going to say, is probably my third. It's third for durability, I think. It is the glossiest look. If you like a glossy tire, that one at the start is crazy. $27 for 500 mils. It's available now, I believe, at, I don't know about Repco's, but I think it's Autobarns and Supercheap now. I know when Chemical Guys first came to Australia, it was just at Supercheap, but it seems like they're starting to spread around a bit. So they do have other tire dressings as well, Chemical Guys, but that's just the one I grabbed because I wanted to spray. Now, the Turtle Wax is the most expensive. It's $38, and it's a slightly larger bottle, like I said, it's 680 mils. It looks great. As I just showed, I've just put it on my Evo because I really like the looks at the initial application. And for the Evo, which I'm washing at least every 2 weeks, and then I'm reapplying the tire dressing after each wash generally, or as soon as I notice it not looking as good as it should, that's probably fine to me. But does that mean I'm going through more product than I need to, when I could be using something like the Mirch, making it last? I don't know, but I did like the Turtle Wax. I feel like the initial application I like the Turtle Wax as much as the Bowdens. So those are my two favorite for looks from the start, but I feel like the Turtle Wax then wore off the quickest. As you saw with this wheel, this isn't the wheel that's getting the dirtiest either. It was the Bowden side on the driver's side. When we washed this wheel both weeks, I believe, it was the dirtiest. It's picked up the most dirt and grime, so sometimes it can be unfair to do like a front wheel versus a rear wheel. The rear wheel maybe not getting as dirty on the van or something, you know, generally a car. But yeah, I think it's easy to compare the passenger and the driver's side. And yeah, the Turtle Wax wore off the quickest is what I'm thinking. It lost its shine a little bit quicker. It's starting to lose its hydrophobics, and it's the most expensive. So probably not one that I will repurchase. I would take the sweet rubber from Bowden's Own over it. And this is a very old bottle of Mirch as well. So I think I'm going to be repurchasing these two. Not really the biggest fan of the Chemical Guys one. And the Turtle Wax just a little bit pricey and just doesn't do as much as the Bowden's Own. So I think a combination of these two. I have said before in other videos that I like, for like a larger sidewall tire, like a van or an SUV or something, I like a shinier dressing. And then for a low profile tire, I like something a little bit more matte. So these two are like my perfect combination. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it. I've probably rambled on for way too long, but I just wanted to like sort of wrap it up, go over the pricing and everything. The only one that are available retail in Australia was the Mirch. The other three you can pick up at the major retailers. Maybe Mirch will one day make it into retailers, who knows, but that's $10 shipping you'll have to realistically add if you're only buying that. So yeah, go end there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video and this series. Need to really get back onto uploading more on this channel, which I'm going to try and do. So end it there. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave the video a comment if you have any questions, and yeah, subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you guys in the next video.